A very huge debate is going on in Africa right now. Africa Today made a video on the groundworks of the formation of a new country in Africa a week ago called the East African Federation. Previously, 6 East African countries, namely Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Burundi, Rwanda, and South Sudan, had decided to form an economic community with a long-term goal of transforming it into a single sovereign state. On the 29th of March 2022, the Union officially accepted a new member, DR Congo. But then, what triggers the attention of so many observers is that several nations around this bloc are also demonstrating aspirations to join. It happens to be that Congo was a very important and decisive member for this movement to kickstart. Anyway, how would other large blocs within Africa see this? The Horn of Africa, for example, has been in war with itself for a while now. What if Somalia, Ethiopia, Djibouti and Eritrea finally give up their artificial boundaries that were drawn during apartheid period barely a few decades ago and concentrate more on the cultural continuity they shared for thousands of years? Hello our YouTube family all over the world, welcome to our channel. But first fam, before you get out of that plane, please take a moment to like and subscribe on our channel so that you don't miss out on our exciting videos. The DR Congo has always been at the center of the future Bantu nation. In fact, it is the nucleus of the hypothetical state. And now that it's finally in the grip of the East African community, we should not be surprised if this new state finally changes its name from the East African Federation to the United States of Central Africa. This appellation has been all over social media following the acceptance of the DR Congo into the East African community as of March 2022. Before we analyze the reasons why the DR Congo submitted for membership, let's briefly understand what the DR Congo is. For starters, the DR Congo is a sleeping giant. In fact, I mean every word of it. At the time of its independence in 1960, the DR Congo was the second most industrialized country in Africa after South Africa. It boasted a thriving mining sector and its agriculture sector was relatively productive. It does occupy a total surface area of 2.3 million square kilometers, which is about the size of Western Europe and about half of the size of the future East African Federation. It has half the total cobalt available on Earth, and as we all know, the world is moving into an era of electric cars, and as the saying goes, whoever talks about electric cars, phones and satellites also talk about cobalt. The DR Congo has the largest hydropower potential in Africa, and one of the largest worldwide with a technically feasible potential of some 100,000 megawatts. The list of its potential is too long and can't be exhaustive in this short video. Summarily, the Democratic Republic of Congo is widely considered to be the richest country in the world regarding natural resources. Its untapped deposits of raw minerals are estimated to be worth in excess of US $24 trillion. Putting that into perspective, if it was to be fully exploited, it implies that the DR Congo would have more than half of all money on Earth. Now that we know something about this giant, let's look at the reasons why it is joining the East African community. Anyway, there are 2 principal objectives as concerns this wise chess move made by the DR Congo and the East African community. Actually, one of the 2 major objectives has been shared by the Congolese government, meanwhile the other is only discussed by authorities in closed doors and remain hypothetical. It involves, however, the possibilities of forming a Bantu nation. Anyway, before analyzing the plan for a hypothetical Bantu nation, let's start up with the relatively short-term objectives. Looking at this map, we would understand easily that the DR Congo borders 5 of the 6 other members of the East African community. It is no secret that these borders were designed by colonizers for their best interest. The borders here, however, were not meant to develop the colonies, but to enrich the colonizers. They have otherwise made it difficult for intra-African trade. Putting that into perspective, we can quickly observe that the eastern part of the country is landlocked. Earlier, we understood that the DRC is the richest country on the planet as concerns natural resources, which however are highly concentrated on its eastern border. This poses a serious problem as the transportation of such heavy resources from the hinterland is almost impossible through the heart of the rainforest where roads are in their worst conditions. All these aspects change the dynamics of productivity, as well as demand and supply. With all this realistic problems, the DRC's government had to sort to joining the East African Community bloc, whereby it would use already existing infrastructure in Uganda and Tanzania, such as the standard gauge railway, to access important ports on the eastern border without paying huge tariffs. This would also shorten its route for exportation to Asian countries, instead of passing through South Africa at the southernmost part of the continent, which is a more longer route. Anyway, let's get to the second reason, which is hypothetical. Though hypothetical, indications are coming to light that we might be heading straight to a new Bantu nation, which would obviously spread beyond DRC's borders. In order to understand this easily, we need this map. Taking a look at this map, we would notice that the shaded area consists of the Bantu people, which is a branch of the Niger-Congo family, a truly massive grouping that also takes up most of West Africa. Over social media recently, the Bantu people have demonstrated their aspirations of forming a Bantu state that goes well beyond the borders of the DR Congo. Hence the million-dollar question: is the creation of the East African Federation a hidden secret plan to meet this objective? Well, while it's still a very big question for us to ponder on, it is not an exaggeration for the Bantu people to call for unification. Actually, the Bantu people have had over 5,000 years of cultural continuity historically and wouldn't therefore attach more importance to short-term artificial borders drawn up by colonizers a few decades ago. Moreover, Pan-Africanists have ceaselessly called for the institutionalization of a Bantu transnational commonwealth network, as is the case elsewhere in the world. For instance, Nordic Europeans have the Nordic Council, Arabs have the Arab League, and Slavic Europeans have the Intermarium. Now we need to note that all these organizations play a very important role in geopolitics, business and decision-making around the world. Where then is Africa situated? Instead, most African countries belong to the English Commonwealth and the Francophone Commonwealth. This means that Aluba from Congo and Abeti from Cameroon, who are almost identical culturally, do not have institutions to highlight those bonds and keep them alive, but do have bonds with European Commonwealth organizations. This partly explains why Africans do business more with Europe than within Africa itself. So dear friends, there goes the second reason why Congo might be joining the East African community. As always, we are going to give you a bonus for sticking till the end of this video. Now we are going to share with you a comment of one of our subscribers which can be a game changer in Africa. A big shout out to the author of this post, Jeffrey Robinson, whose idea can be a turning point in Africa. He wrote, and I quote, "The only way the East African Federation will survive is that Africans of all participating nations must give up tribal ways of relating to one another." Notice, I did not say give up their culture, but they must respect other cultures, not perceive them as below or less than their own, at least not in public. Participating nations must stop the corruption and abandon the concept of leadership based on blood or tribal ties. Leadership must be based on who will put the common good of the East African Federation above blood and tribal ties. This will be the most difficult hurdle to overcome, and the West knows this, as does China, and they will exploit your weakness on this regard. I wish the EAF the best of luck. That is it, guys. From the way he put it, it shows that he is not even an African, but his thoughts are deep and can make Africa a true Wakanda if fully implemented. As always, put your thoughts about this in the comments section below. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel for more exciting videos.